Welcome back, everybody, to the Jits Guy podcast. Today's interview is absolutely incredible, and I can't wait to introduce my guest to you. Real quick, if you are not subscribed to this YouTube channel, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications to know when we go live with incredible people like my guest tonight. My guest impacted your jiu-jitsu, whether you know it or not, and whether he knows it or not. He is today a renowned black belt who has traveled and trained across most of the places that we dream of training in jiu-jitsu. And at the same time, he's captured them through his lens. Some of the most pivotal moments, most incredible personalities of the jiu-jitsu that we know of our generation. Please, guys, give it up for the talented Stuart Cooper. Thank you so much, Stuart, for being here with me.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Man, absolute pleasure to finally meet the man behind so much of the content that I've consumed online. I want to first start off by saying something. When I first started jiu-jitsu, I did not come from UFC. I did not come from watching Royce Gracie or anything like that. I was just, I don't want to say bored, but I was kind of frustrated with my physical activity. I wanted to find something that I can get hooked on. So I did my first lesson, and it was challenging. It was interesting, but it was there wasn't enough content for me in that first lesson to think like I really want to do this. So I went online, started Googling, and started searching, and I found your footage, your films. And that cemented the decision for me. That's like how indirect yet big of an impact you have on people like me. Watching your films and the way you captured it and the vibe and the good feeling, I'm like, fuck, this is what I want to be doing.
No, it's nice to hear that. Yeah, actually get a lot of people telling me that sometimes they kind of got into jiu-jitsu through actually capturing one of my videos on YouTube. So it's always cool to hear that.
Isn't that amazing? Like, did you ever think that the recordings you're doing back then would lead to people starting
honestly,
jiu-jitsu?
I really didn't. It was all just for fun when I first started doing it. My intention was to go jiu-jitsu full-time and try and become a world champion. I was training. From day one. I was training twice a day, every day. But from an accident, I dislocated my left arm, and I was out for a year. So just to keep my mind occupied and just something to do, I started filming, training, filming all my teammates go and compete at local tournaments, and downloaded an editing program and started just messing around just for something to do. And then everyone said, everyone kind of liked the videos I was doing. And then we had the first video I ever did was Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall came over to England to do a seminar before ADCC 2011. So I filmed that, did an interview, filmed all the rolling, just put it together and made a little video and posted online. It got a lot of views, in a short amount of time. So it kind of went from there.
That's crazy. So it just snowballed.
Yeah, well, at that time, they had Budo videos at the time, but they were just doing like live stream. They weren't doing many, there wasn't anyone really putting out like little short films, like creative, artistic style videos. And
absolutely.
So I think I was kind of one of the first people to do it, or one of them. There was definitely people doing it, but I started producing a lot of them. I realized that there was a little niche there.
I love how that origin comes from wedding videography, right? Like, because in weddings, that's what you have to do with weddings. You have to create that artistic clip that makes the bride and the groom happy in that memorable moment. You took that concept and applied it to jiu-jitsu, strangling each other.
Actually, I made my first few jiu-jitsu videos, and then it was one of my teammates was getting married, and he asked me to film his wedding because he'd seen my little jiu-jitsu highlights. And he said he'd pay me £300 to film his wedding. I was like, yeah, definitely. I'll do it for £300. I made a wedding highlight for him. And then at his wedding, I met a wedding photographer. I sent her the video afterwards, and she really liked it. And within a few weeks later, she'd actually called me up and said, hey, well, can you film this wedding for me? And then she it was like a few weekends in a row. She gave me a few different weddings, and I got paid £1,000 for each wedding. And before you know it, I'm a wedding videographer making money from it. But then, so I was filming weddings, making money, but my passion was making jiu-jitsu videos. I didn't really enjoy making wedding videos that much. It wasn't a bad job. It was actually kind of fun, I suppose. But I really
you got to deal with a lot.
Yeah. And it was cool because I would film a wedding on like a Friday or a Saturday.
Okay. Sometimes
on a Sunday, and that's just one day. So the rest of the week is editing. So you can choose your own hours. So that allowed me to train full time.
You didn't have a full-time job back then?
No, I went to university, and when I finished university, I actually got a job, my first job in London. And it was like, it wasn't even 9 till 5, it was an 8 till 6. you know, job, sat behind a desk, you know, on a computer.
What did you study? Like, was it finance?
I studied a course called Content Creation for Broadcast Media.
Wow.
But it was very theory based. We never actually, I did that course thinking we would actually, you know, be hands on, like making videos and making short films. But it was actually very theory based. It was a degree. I did a degree it doesn't even exist anymore. So I've got a degree and that's something that doesn't even exist.
They canceled it.
Yeah, they did. That was a trial course that they did, and it turned out it wasn't very good. So
that must bite. Like, imagine doing accounting and then it switches to AI and they're like, oh, we're just canceling accounting. It's like, that's 4 years of my life.
Yeah. Look, this was a fast track degree. So it was like a degree crammed into 2 years. But if that was a fast track, oh my God, because I really didn't do much.
Oh wow, man. Okay, but at least it led to you doing what you did. Like, I thought it started wedding and it went to jiu-jitsu, but you're saying the wedding came from jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So that's a good clarification. At least jiu-jitsu started it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure like you've been impacted like all of us through the lockdown phase, like that dark phase of the COVID pandemic.
Yeah.
Where really nobody trained until people started to kind of train. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Deeper training.
There's still social distancing, but we've gone past that fearful phase where everybody's like, this is serious, let me button down. But during that time, did you go back and like access footage that you never edited or like find stuff that...
I did, yeah. And actually, there's still a few videos I haven't released yet because I'm talking to a YouTube partner network and I'm still deciding whether I want to sign with them.
Okay.
So I've held a few videos back, but as soon as COVID hit and I couldn't train and I couldn't teach, I basically had nothing to do. I just got out, actually down here, I've got boxes of hard drives. I've got so many hard drives and some of them are still in England, some of them are in Thailand. You know, so because I've been traveling the world filming since 2011. So I have a lot of footage. So I basically thought, right, I'm going to have to make the most of this lockdown. Let's like get back and, you know, like start like putting videos together and uploading, you know, onto my YouTube channel. Just give people stuff to watch as well. So it gave me a focus during the lockdown, like gave me a reason to like get up and have something to do every day because I like to have something to do. If there's nothing to do, I get kind of down. So I like to be productive.
I get you, man.
I started uploading loads of ADCC matches that I'd never uploaded before.
Yes.
Just like in their entirety, because usually I don't film the full match.
Okay.
I actually just film segments and I'm looking for like artistic shots.
Nice.
I don't just film in one wide shot. But there was a few matches I actually filmed the entirety of the match. So I uploaded those, like Rafa Mendes versus Joao Miel. That was a good one to upload.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
You definitely have some like golden footage, and I'd imagine you probably lost or forgotten about more footage than most people have captured in jiu-jitsu from how much you've captured.
Yeah, I've got an incredible amount actually. And I've actually gone back and edited, I'm re-editing stuff right now. The first few videos I've ever made that really, the ones that kind of got people's attention were the Braulio Estima Road to ADCC videos.
Yeah, you were with him side to side kind of.
Yeah, I was with it, traveling with him for a few years.
Okay.
But I went back to those original videos and honestly, they weren't that good. The way they were edited, they were a little bit, the way they were put together, I watching it now, I can see my, you know, it's like now I'm a black belt going back and watching my white belt fights. I could see loads of mistakes. So I've actually re-edited all of that footage. And right now it stands at about 30 minutes. So I'm going to release that soon.
I can't wait. Man, this is the beauty. Like when you look back at something that you currently still do and you're cringing at it, that's when you know you're doing something right.
Yeah.
You're getting better at life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're improving. You're seeing mistakes, and so.
Oh man, this is amazing because there's a unique opportunity that we have talking to you. You're a person that has captured it, and through capturing it, gotten access to so much variety of jiu-jitsu. Like today, somebody can go online on BJJ Fanatics and like access a lot of different instructionals. But when you were starting out and training, to be able to expose yourself to so much different techniques and talent wasn't so common. So you got that through your capturing. Was that part of the logic for you doing it? Were you like, this is a great perk from this?
I was definitely aware of it. Yeah. I mean, I got to, yeah, I got, just because I was able to, you know, go and film the best guys in the world, I was able to go and train with the best guys in the world as well and pick up all this different knowledge. But actually, I think I started training with some of the world-class black belts. I started training with them too soon, because I was like a good purple belt at the time.
Okay.
And I would do well with, like, you know, with black belts, but then I started rolling with like people like Braulio Estima and Roger Gracie and Cyborg Abreu when I was a purple belt, and they were just, I couldn't do anything to them, like nothing. I couldn't even get that, like nothing, not even like a near sweep. And it would almost like, it made me think, well, I'll never be that good. So it almost like worked against me in that, that sense, you know? So it took me
definitely understand that.
Yeah.
Did you also get in some variety, like with colored belts, or throughout that time you were training?
Yeah, definitely did. Yeah. But there was actually, I remember training with, I was traveling with Braulio for quite a few years. So I'd roll with Braulio Estima every day. And this is when he was at his peak. He was just after ADCC 2011. And oh my God, he would just destroy me.
Yeah, that must be demoralizing trying to like...
It was almost demoralizing, because I thought I was like a decent purple belt, and then to get smashed like that, it was like, oh my God, I'm so far away from that level. And I wasn't sure if I could ever get to that level, you know, because of that. Man, but then crazy. Just through long-term consistency, you can reach, you know, a very high level. It just takes time.
Do you think if somebody trains with a lot of higher level black belts most of the time, they can get better, or do they have to train with lower belts?
I think they need to train with lower belts as well. I really do. You know, I think I made most of my improvements as a black belt when I was in Singapore, and I was training with mainly blue and purple belts, and the odd black belt here and there, because they know how to react, they know how to move, they give you a good, you know, a good roll, but you're able to try stuff, you know, so you don't have to go to your A game all the time. I remember in England, I was rolling with brown and black belts every day, and I'm just doing the same thing every day, just going to what I'm good at, my pressure passing, and not able to try out new techniques because they probably won't work, and then I'll get my guard passed, and then the ego comes in. But it's good to like, I think it's better to actually, you need to train with a different variety of levels. I think.
How's your defense game? I'd imagine your defense game must be
a lot better now, because it got exposed in Japan. I went to Japan and did quintet, and that was a big lesson for me, because I was at Tiger Muay Thai for a long time. I was doing good in the rolling, but I wasn't doing specific training. So when I went to quintet, Haisam Rida jumped over my guard and got my back. Ooh. And honestly, that was the first time someone was on my back for quite a while. And it's like I was so rusty there, and he got a rear naked choke way too easy.
Wow.
And it was a lot of, the way I defended it, I grabbed the wrist instead of grabbing the foam. There was a lot of like technical mistakes I made. So after that match, I started doing a lot of specific training. I do it now here in Vancouver with my students.
I see.
Get people to start on your back constantly, you know, in mount, side control.
Wow.
So you get really comfortable defending those positions, you know, start in the leg entanglements. So it's very important to do that, I think, for your defense.
That's the thing I imagined. Like if you're training with guys like Braulio Estima, Cyborg, and these guys, like for example, with me, my situation is most of the time I train with a lot of black belts here in the UAE, in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And I just like, I got smashed for the longest time that I got to a point that I had to learn defense because I can't learn attack. And my defense now, I can comfortably go to any gym and know that I won't get my ass handed to me because I know I have that defense. But I do, like my game right now definitely needs to go towards colored belts and to be able to attack somebody.
Yeah, you definitely need that, I think. So is it mainly black belts where you were?
Man, you've been to Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, a long time ago.
So Abu Dhabi,
I didn't actually train when I was there. I didn't get the chance to train. I trained in Dubai with Rafael
Hobart and Team Nogueira.
Yeah, I trained with him. Yeah.
Nice. Man, amazing. That guy's jiu-jitsu is at that peak level. And he definitely had a big impact on the UAE. But what year was that you trained with him?
I think that was 2012, I think.
Wow. Okay, so
his gym was small then. There was no Team Nogueira.
Emirates Jiu-Jitsu. Yes.
It was Emirates Jiu-Jitsu, yeah.
So now the Team Nogueira is fantastic facility, hundreds of students. But like in Abu Dhabi right now, we've got around 800 black belt coaches and 30,000 practitioners. it's bananas, man. Like the growth of jiu-jitsu since 2012 to today, or like since it started 2000, is phenomenal. So we're very much spoiled, but it's like killers. So when I go and train with friends, the guys that the coaches have their own training after they finish instructing kids. Yeah. So I somehow found myself in that environment. Don't ask me how, but I definitely, like, I just get my ass handed to me. I need to bring in some variety, otherwise I'll never improve.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'd love to have you here in the UAE, like to see your reaction.
Yeah. When that would be great. A great time to come out there. Hopefully when these borders open.
Yeah.
Is that where Tariq is right now? Is he there? Where is Tariq right now?
So Tariq came to the UAE to fight in UAE Warriors, and he got stuck because of the Corona pandemic.
Yeah. He can't go back to Thailand.
No, he can't. And he's got do you know a guy called Anas? I'm sure he passed by Tiger Muay Thai. So he's training with him now, and he has a fight after tomorrow in UAE Warriors.
I probably do know. I just can't think off the top of my head.
Yeah. So Tara is coaching him and cornering him for that fight. Hey, he's staying busy, man. Tara is like, everybody's enjoying having him for like Muay Thai lessons and jiu-jitsu smashing sessions. So he's definitely having fun while he's here.
Tariq, for an MMA guy, his jiu-jitsu is legit. He's a good black belt, Tariq. Yeah. He's very good.
Man, it was amazing talking to him about like the reason he started jiu-jitsu and what got him addicted to it. It's like escapism. And you kind of see that with a lot of people. I wanted to find a bit more about you. Like, what started you out in jiu-jitsu in the first place?
I always, like, growing up, I loved, like Van Damme films, the Schwarzenegger films. Like, I just loved watching stuff like that, And I even tried, like, karate when I was a kid, Aikido. But when I went to these martial arts, I didn't enjoy them. I didn't find them, like, I was like, how is this going to work? I used to question it, because you were like, it wasn't very hands-on, So then I think when I was at university during the time, I was about 21, and I saw UFC on TV.
Okay.
And then I could see that was real. It wasn't WWE, because I also liked WWE growing up as well, but I knew that was fake. And I saw UFC, and I don't know how I'd never come across it before. I didn't even know what it was.
Okay.
So I was working at a gym at the time. I was a receptionist, and I asked a few people, "What's this UFC?" And like, "That's MMA." I'm like, "What's that?" And they described it to me. And one of the personal trainers there did Muay Thai, so he took me down to my first Muay Thai lesson. And I really liked it. It's the first time, I was actually able to hit someone, get hit back, and, hit pads. And I was like, oh, wow, this is fun,
Yeah.
So I did that for quite a few weeks. And then I noticed there was an MMA lesson on afterwards. And I looked, just kind of watched the lesson the first few times, and it's full of like, intimidating looking people. And I was scared to go in the first time. I'm like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to go in there. But then one day I just pulled up the courage and like, fuck it, let's go in, let's just do this. And everyone just took me down, just mounted me, and I just couldn't get out of anything. And I just felt that was way more effective. The way that people were able to control me. And that never happened before. There was never a time in my life where people just absolutely just dominated me, squashed me.
Yeah.
So I asked them, what is this ground stuff? I'm like, this is jiu-jitsu. I'm like, right, can I just do this? I don't want to do the strike, and I just want to do this ground stuff, this jiu-jitsu. And then that was it. I started doing it every day since then.
Who was coaching? Injuries aside,
at that time, what was his name? He ended up in the UFC. Alberto Mina. Okay. This is in London. Alberto Mina.
Around what year was this?
This was 2009.
2009. Roger Gracie was there?
No, this is where I first started. So this is in London, and it was at a small gym called Centex. It was mainly a Muay Thai gym, but they did MMA.
Okay.
So they did their little jiu-jitsu lesson here and there, but they sent me to, they said you should go to London Fight Factory. Mm-hmm. And that's where I went, like a few weeks later, and I bought my first gi. And I was training with Vladimir Neto, who's naturally now in England.
Okay.
So I was kind of like learning jiu-jitsu from Alberto Mina and Vladimir Neto for like a few months, but then university finished, money ran out, and I had to move back home to Manchester with my parents. And that's where I met my professor, Lucio Sergio.
I see. And since then, he was your professor till black belt?
Yep, I've been with Lucio, since day one.
Oh, it's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And like when you started out training jiu-jitsu and getting a little bit better, got your blue belt, did you start thinking like, I want to do this? I want my life to be around this?
Yeah, absolutely. Like right from the beginning, actually. It wasn't long. I just loved it. You know, I've always been into sport. At school, I was not good at maths. I wasn't good at science.
Yeah.
The only things I was good at were art and sport, you know. So, and I moved down to London to do my first job, and I was very unhappy, you know, extremely unhappy. Actually, I think I started to suffer from depression. I didn't even realize at the time. Just sat behind a desk doing something I had no interest in.
Yeah.
And all I had to look forward to was jiu-jitsu at the end of the day, you know. Yeah. So I'd have to get there on my bike. If we finished at 6, I'd get on my bike, 30 minutes to get to Roger Gracie Academy.
Nice.
And then, I'd just race down there, I'd train. And after a few months, I could see like what kind of a lifestyle these black belts had, you know. And I was like, wow, like maybe I'm not too old. You know, I'm 22 at this time.
Sure.
I think 22, 23. I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to do it now. I'm going to have to quit this job, and I'm going to have to go all in. So that's exactly what I did. I quit my job, and that was my mom and dad were very upset with me. Because I mean, I had no reference. I couldn't say, hey, look at, because now it's different. I could say, hey, look at Gordon Ryan or Gary Tonin. These people make a living from it. There's ways to make. At that time, this is like 10 years ago.
Yes.
You know, there wasn't really money involved in the sport. All I could refer to as my professor. It's like, I want to be like my professor. And he was living in a small little apartment in the middle of,
It wasn't glamorous back then either.
I was only making so much a month. And because he took a big jump coming over from Brazil to England. It took him a few years to get going, you know,
But even in Brazil, like back then, even till today, they don't make that much money. Like black belts, legitimate killers, they don't make as much money as you'd expect them to make. So it's a big leap of faith that you took.
It really is. But it's the way I looked at it was, would I rather spend the whole day doing something I don't really enjoy and making money? Or would I rather spend the day doing something I really love and I enjoy every day? Yeah. But then I don't make that much money, but I'm getting by. But I'm happy. I'm doing something I like. So that's what it came down to for me.
And there's a big thing here, Stuart, is a lot of people that spend the day doing things that they don't enjoy end up compensating by spending a lot on things that they think they enjoy.
Yeah. They spend money thinking, spending money on this is going to make me happy. And it makes them happy for like a couple of days. Like they get a new car and then you get the novelty wears off after a few weeks, you know?
Yes. Then it becomes an anchor.
So, even now I'm 30, just turned 35 and I'm in jiu-jitsu, since I was 22, and it's become more fun every day. Like I'm just very fortunate that I get paid to do it now. I literally, something I would do anyway. I get up in the morning, I cycle to the gym, I teach a class, I roll jiu-jitsu, I cycle back, I come home, chill, maybe watch a video, watch a film, do some videos, and then I cycle back in the evening, train, cycle back, and it's like, I would do that anyway. So I'm just fortunate that's my life now. I get paid to do that. So
absolutely, man. You make me so happy hearing you say this. Like, because really, like, I know most of my listeners and audience do jiu-jitsu, so they can vastly relate. But I get so excited when every now and then the odd listener comes in that doesn't do jiu-jitsu. And I hope they hear this because it really is. Sometimes we look so much for luxury and these big aims because we're on Instagram, we're on social media looking at these glamorous so-called lives. But it really doesn't take that much to be happy and content. You just gotta feel like you're progressing every single day at something, no matter how small or big it is. Like jiu-jitsu gives you that satisfaction every day. You're 35, you started 21, you still get that satisfaction.
Yeah, just gotta find that thing you're passionate about. It's funny. Some of them, I made some videos years ago, and I think some people took the message out. Like they thought I was like trying to tell everyone through the message of my video that it's okay to quit your job and take up jiu-jitsu full time. And that wasn't the message at all. It's like, do something you're passionate about. This is just what these guys did. These guys went all in with jiu-jitsu and, they're doing what they love. So it doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu. It could be playing the piano or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just find that thing you really like and just go for that.
And I think, Stuart, we're lucky that like the internet and media has evolved in a way that the life of jiu-jitsu is not solely restricted now on competing or instructing. Now there's a lot more, like what I'm doing now, podcasting, what you do with your media creation. There's different angles you can go at your passion.
you don't have to be a world champion. You really don't. You can
not at all. Sometimes it's easier not to be a world champion.
yeah, definitely less injuries as well, less wear and tear in the body. Yeah, if you're going to sacrifice, if you want to be, that's one thing I realized. If you want to be like the best, you know, like a Bouchesh or a Gordon Ryan, you have to do nothing but train. And when you're not training, you're studying. Like all these guys at the top, they're not really going out the weekend drinking beer and, you know,
they're just pretending on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very committed.
I think that's the thing. Like, we've gone through this paradigm shift. In the last 10 years, jiu-jitsu has gone professional. Before 10 years ago, you could see a guy that doesn't do strength and conditioning, doesn't do physiotherapy, and competes and is successful. Today, that doesn't cut it. You got to train. You got to do like physio 3 times a week just to make sure your body doesn't break down at the level you're training. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's what I have to. Like yesterday, I had to go for a massage on my neck because my neck's all beat up from years of jiu-jitsu. But yeah, I never used to have to do this. You know, I just train, come home. I wouldn't even stretch. I just go in, roll. But now it's like I spend probably it's like 50-50 recovery and training. Like recovery is so important to me now. Just stretching, sauna, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, it's those damn mid-30s, man. Mid-30s does that to you. So
it was after 31. I didn't really have that many injuries. I was unfortunate with a few big ones in my 20s. Like my dislocated arm, I had a broken foot. But after 31, all these, like I tore my meniscus. I got some bulging discs in my neck. My right arm I've got severe arthritis in my right arm now. Yeah.
It happens with everybody. That's the thing that I noticed. Like, I thought it was just me. I thought, like, because I look at all these guys that are training here and a lot of these athletes, and they've got this poker face on that does not show I have got injuries. So for a while, I'm like, man, what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this shit? And there's a lot of people that feel that in jiu-jitsu, like their body's not made for it. Everybody's injured. They just learn to deal with them.
Yeah. If you actually watch I remember watching Kasai, the heavyweight Grand Prix, I think it was, a few months ago.
Okay.
And you could actually see like Gabriel Rocha and Bruno Bastos like kind of limping on stage. And then when it says fight, they're going full on like nothing's wrong with him. And then they hobble back off again. The only guy that is still going, it doesn't look like, I never see him look like he's injured, is Cyborg Abreu. Man, that guy is like, he's going strong through his, you know, and he's what, 40? Over 40 now? Man,
he is a cyborg, man. That Miami lifestyle.
Yeah.
He's definitely doing something right. And I mean, that's the thing though. We also got to a point in, I wouldn't call it just martial arts, just in general in sports science, that prehabilitation has gotten up there as well. Like there's people out there today fixing people that thought they couldn't be fixed except with surgery. So it's out there as well. Like I've interviewed a cool guy that's doing biomechanics and he's like specialized. So after the interview, I was like so impressed by what he said. And I'm in so much pain from certain things. And I'm like, let me talk to this guy off the podcast and do a session online, man, using like myofascial release tools and stuff. He completely like, I had a lot of tightness around my hips, playing guard, a lot of issues from my right leg, and he helped me with them. And today, after following his program, I'm preparing a lot better for jiu-jitsu. So it's out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually, I've got that many injuries now. I was actually looking into do stem cells. My friend Scotty Nelson, he has a hospital called Chips. I think it's called Chispa or Chips Hospital in Tijuana, Mexico. And he actually specializes in like alternative medicine for cancer patients. But he also does stem cells there as well. And I was literally about to fly there and do loads of video work for him on his hospital and all the different like lives he's saved, you know, doing this alternative medicine. And in return, he was going to hook me up with stem cells in my neck. But the day I went to the airport was the day they closed the airport.
No.
COVID. So, because my neck is real, I've lost the feeling in my fingers here a little bit.
Okay. From
my 2 compressed discs. Okay. So I'll definitely chase him up on that, you know, when all this is over.
I know.
That's a good thing, you know, things like stem cells. It's like, okay, like there is a way to like heal the body without having surgery.
I think like we're very lucky. Me and you are the same age. We were born and raised through so many revolutions of technology.
Right.
And I think we're about to catch the physical revolution. You know, like I have a feeling that we're on the verge of the stem cell, these like new tendon replacement surgeries that are coming out. Some cool shit, man. Like in Panama, An Israeli company actually started this.
Panama, right?
Panama's huge on this, stem cells and these kind of things. So here's a cool fact. They discovered this type of frog in Brazil that can jump 45 times its height. Well, they knew it, and they took this frog and they extracted its DNA, and the DNA blocks of the tendons of that frog. Super elastic, super strong. So they basically implanted them into tobacco plants, and they grow them on those tobacco plants to be able to create a farm of that tendon. And they take that tendon molecule off the tobacco plant and now implant it. So they say you go in for an ACL surgery, a ligament surgery, right? You've torn your ligament totally. They'll replace your ligament with that, and you'll come out of the surgery better than you were before the injury.
Wow.
That's the kind of shit we can expect, dude. Fuck yeah, let's go. So some exciting stuff is on the verge of like breaking out in the medical field. And for some reason, I don't know why we got to say Tijuana, Mexico and Panama. Everybody thinks we're smuggling money or something.
You have to you have to go to these countries where I suppose they're not as strict with some of the laws. But
here's the thing, they are very strict. They're strict on the medical side. It's just the government is not so attached to big pharma because they don't have a big pharma there. You know?
I knew that was probably the case. You know, I mean, there's money to be made through surgeries, through painkillers. You know, if there's alternative things you can do that are cheaper, but it's not going to give big pharma money. I'm on that bus as well. Like between my knees and my spine, I've done a spine surgery and I've got issues with my knees. I'm on that bus, just waiting for COVID to finish. I'm definitely going to try. I know people that have done these treatments, and it's done them wonders. Yeah, I just come back from knee surgery myself. Had my lateral meniscus ripped, but this one it couldn't be avoided. I know you can actually heal meniscuses with stem cells, and actually I think it regrows the meniscus as well. Yeah, from what I understand. But mine was actually like a huge tear, but it was stuck. It was a bucket handle tear, so the meniscus got wedged in between the.
I had the same with my right knee. Yeah.
So my leg was locked. Like it wouldn't straighten and it wouldn't go back in. So for 5 days, my leg is just stuck at a 90-degree angle.
Oh man!
So then I had to go in for surgery because they had to go in and pull it out and then stitch it up. Yeah. And I was like, honestly, it's been a year, pretty much just over a year. It's only now I've got full confidence in it. You know.
Good.
So it took a long time.
It's a very real thing. Like especially I think. You started 21. I started jiu-jitsu at 25. It's a very real thing when you don't have a background in jiu-jitsu and you start at that age. Not that it's impossible. It's that if you want to take it to that like extra rolling, and I train as much as I can, and that's why my body gets beat up. It's a fact. Like people need to learn that you have to do prehabilitation. You have to do physiotherapy if you want to truly avoid the major shit. You're going to get small things for sure.
Yeah, it's unavoidable. You know?
I like what you're saying about your friend in Tijuana, that you were going to go do some filming for him in replacement. You would get some... Because you had that similar deal for Tiger Muay Thai, didn't you?
Oh, this is kind of the deal I've been doing for years.
I love it, man.
That's how I traveled the world. I remember I first had the idea. I started these videos got really popular.
Okay.
And the first few I did with Ryan Hall, Gunnar Nelson, Jeff Monson, and Braulio. And I saw how many views they were getting. And every white, blue belt, purple belt's dream is to go to Brazil and train jiu-jitsu, in the heart of Rio. So I heard of this hostel Connection Rio, and I just sent them an email with links to all the different videos I'd made, and said, hey, how would you feel about, me coming out to Rio and you giving me a free place to stay, free training, and in return, I'll make a bunch of videos and all the different, high-level jiu-jitsu guys in Rio, and I'll put your company logo on. It's sponsored by your company, so it's exposure for you. Wow. He emailed me back within 10 minutes. He's like, dude, when do you want to come? I'm like, next month. He's like, come on, you've got a free room,
Perfect.
Free training, stay as long as you want. And actually I was there for 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
And I wanted to try something else, and he wanted me to stay. He was really trying so hard to get me to stay, but
so he must have been benefiting a lot from the exposure.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but there was a lot of things we could have done. But I had the idea of go out to Brazil, and I'd love it. I'd want to stay there. That's what I thought in my head. I thought I'm never coming back. I'm going to live in Rio. But it never, for whatever reason, it never actually grabbed me, Rio.
Mm.
And I'm not really sure why. But then I did the same deal with Tiger Muay Thai. And when I went to Thailand, that grabbed me. I was like, oh, this is where I'm staying.
What would you point your finger down? Like, what's the difference between the two that grabbed you?
It was a little bit easier to get around in Thailand with like the scooters. There's something about that, like just being able to get on a scooter, drive around the island. It gives you a sense of freedom. You don't need a license over there or insurance.
Nothing.
It's just,
and it's safer.
Yeah, and if the police stop you, you just give them 1,000 baht, which is like, $30, and they leave you alone. They're really not interested if you've got a license. They just want your money.
Amazing.
Even if you have a license, they still want your money.
They look for something.
Oh yeah, they're looking for something. Yeah, but yeah, and plus we had like Muay Thai out there as well. There was like more MMA. It was just I don't know. It's just it was cheaper. That was a big thing as well. Accommodation was way cheaper. Not that I was paying for it anyway, but food. Rio was actually quite expensive. For eating out, and buying groceries, but Thailand is so cheap. You can really live like a king out there. Like the house that I was living in Thailand, you should have seen it. It was awesome. I had a swimming pool. It was like a huge house.
Okay.
And now the apartment I'm in now, I'm paying. It's like an eighth of the size, and I'm paying 3 times as much.
Damn, man. Damn, that's
literally maybe 4 times as much.
That's the thing, people like. That's the appeal. You go to Thailand, you live like a king, like an ambassador at the like income of a university student. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool seeing what's happened with Tiger Muay Thai over the years. I was there in 2012, and there was Roger Huerta was there.
Okay.
Brian Ebersol and Fernando Macachero. And then over the years, I saw all these different guys come in, like Alex Volkanovski, Peter Yan, Valentina Shevchenko. I was like training with these people and knew them when they had like 1,000 followers on Instagram. And they did Volkanovski did the Tiger Muay Thai tryouts. Valentina was a kickboxer, and she wanted to move into MMA. So she started training the jiu-jitsu lessons. And I could see right from, when I first met them, I could see how much hard work they were putting in. They were trained, incredibly disciplined, and it's no surprise to me that they've all become champions.
That's the interesting thing. You've spent so much time around champions. You can kind of like detect them now. You've kind of seen the habits and traits of champions, right?
Yeah. Actually, Roger Huerta, he used to be the head MMA coach at Tiger Muay Thai. He called it. I remember Valentina coming in. And she had judo, she had takedowns, mainly a striker, but she didn't have much jiu-jitsu. But she would train so hard. And after the pro training sessions, everyone else is like chilling, stretching. She'd be outside doing push-ups on the concrete with her fists.
Damn.
I remember Roger Huerta looking at me going, dude, she's going to be a UFC champion. I was like, you think? He's like, watch. And he was right. And he said it about Israel Adesanya as well. Israel Adesanya came to Tiger Muay Thai.
Okay.
And we were watching him, just put on stand-up clinic on everybody. And I remember walking in the MMA room that day, and Roger called me and go, dude, look at this guy here. He's called Israel. Like, who's this guy? He goes, dude, this is
hilarious.
He's called it a lot, actually, Roger. He had a good eye for spotting talent.
Is it obsession that you see in those people? Like, are they just obsessed and dedicated to what they're doing? Yeah,
like Valentina, she would never come out the weekend and go to Patong and have drinks. She would not come for a barbecue, hang out on the beach. She was all business,
Yes.
Like all she did was train. You wouldn't really see her out having a, partying or anything like that, ever.
Man, like, here's the thing, because I want to switch gears between the capturing side and the competitive side, because I know and I understand from reading about you and what you've put out there, you've always had this passion to teach and to compete, but somehow like this capturing kind of overwhelmed it for a while. So Tiger Muay Thai was your way of reconnecting with the teaching and then competing side, right?
Yeah. So it was always like, that was always my goal, to end up like teaching and training. And I suppose the filmmaking was like a pathway to that point. It was like, like gathering knowledge, gathering different techniques. And I really enjoyed doing it, but when I was like traveling the world filming, I wasn't good enough to teach, I was still like purple, brown, still learning, and then eventually the whole time I was filming, I worked my way up to black belt.
Yes.
So yeah, and then I actually decided to, and the irony was traveling the world filming jiu-jitsu, I wasn't able to train jiu-jitsu as much. And my jiu-jitsu actually declined. And the whole time I'm filming, like Rodolfo or Cyborg rolling, I'm there filming it. I'm not training. I'm behind the camera going, I just want to train right now. I don't want to be filming.
Oh man.
And then I'd still put my camera down and jump in and roll, but it was kind of hard doing that alternating. I even did that at competitions sometimes. I'd be filming a competition, put the camera down, then jump on and roll.
Oh man, so, that must have been something, because like as well, I'm sure it affects you. You want to get the footage, you want to be able to be focused, but like it's hard to be focused if you're sweating your ass off and you just got smashed by somebody.
Especially after a roll, the arms are all shaky, you're dripping with sweat, the camera lens fogs up with the steam.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was very hard to do both. So I remember it was when I got to black belt, I realized like, right, I'm gonna have to put this camera down and just focus on becoming a good black belt. Because when that was pressure, when I got my black belt, I'm like, right, I'm a target now. I'm going to have to really own that.
Stand up to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually put the camera down for quite a few. I didn't actually produce anything for a couple. There was like maybe a 1 year, 2 year gap. I'm not sure. But I didn't put anything out. I was just focusing on training and teaching.
I like that, because you recognize, like, not that you're getting older, but you're at that age where this is where you sharpen your teeth for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah.
It's difficult to sharpen your teeth at 45.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just the traveling as well. I'm very fortunate. I've, traveled the world. I think it was almost like 8 years, and it just kind of got to me in the end. It was almost too much. It was being constantly jet lagged, and I spoke about it on Josh Ing's podcast, the Matt Byrne podcast. It really took a big hit on my health. So that was always a very physical purple belt, like 88 kilograms, like 90 kilograms. And then through all the traveling, not looking after myself, just constantly jet lagged, and then taking pills I had no business taking, my weight went down to 70 kilograms.
Oh, wow.
I remember I was a brown belt at the time, and I didn't realize how much weight I'd lost. I'd been traveling the world filming. And I came back to Tiger Muay Thai to see everybody and stay for a few months training. I remember everyone looking at me going, Stu, dude, what happened to you? I'm like, what? I'm like, you're like half the size. I'm like, really? And I stepped on the scales, I'm like 70 kilograms. And then I go into roll that day, and people that I would normally, like have my way with and tap, I was getting killed by everybody. I was a brown belt getting tapped by blue belts. And that was a
wake-up call.
Like, right. I'm going to have to, and I remember that day, I was like, right, change starts now, Nice. I start putting the weight back on, start looking after myself.
Nice. And that's when you kind of put the camera aside, since brown belt that day.
Yeah.
Man, so like continuing down the film route, do you see that as a pathway as well, or is your dream instructing and competing?
No, I kind of like the direction my films are going now, like, because it was almost too much. It became an actual job, and I like to make it one of these films. I like to spend my time doing it, make it as good as possible. I like put one video out every. I like to think my videos are a little bit different to like some of the Flow Grappling content. They have great content.
They do.
But I just think mine's a little bit more personal, maybe. So I'll always be making these videos and putting them out. Just not so much, I'd really like it. So actually, before COVID hit, I had a plan to go and film with Wagner Rocha. I was going to do a piece with him, Dante Leon, and Nicky Rodriguez as well, just because he's an interesting dude. I think that would make a good video. But I really, really want to do one with Wagner Rocha. I love his style. He's just mean. He's a mean dude.
Absolutely, man. I mean, the thing is, it's that balance that we see. Like for me personally, all right, being a selfish content consumer, I really enjoy your films, man. Like, because you have that unique eye into jiu-jitsu somehow. There's some guys that even like at black belt levels maybe don't capture jiu-jitsu the way you are doing it. And I kind of feel like the barrier to entry to become a professional videographer or somebody successful is that you got to be a black belt too to really know what you're looking at. Yeah,
I had a friend who I grew up with, and he was really into BMXing. And he started filming like just his friends like messing around on BMX bikes. And then before you know it, he became a professional BMX videographer, and then went on to like bigger things.
That's how it is.
So it's kind of very, very similar. What I did, started filming jiu-jitsu and then started making, jiu-jitsu films. So I would love to, one day I would really love to spend some time, maybe take a little bit of time away from teaching and training and make a feature-length documentary. It's just trying to find the right story.
Sure.
I'm currently I'm trying to put one together on Andre Galvao, because I have footage from him from 2009 to 2019. And that's that's like a 10-year story.
Whoa.
I think that would make a cool feature documentary where in 2009, he got submitted Braulio Estima.
Yeah.
And he comes back hard. In 2011, gets double gold.
Yes.
And 2013, he wins the rematch against Braulio, and he's been on top ever since. And it would be cool to see if I'm not sure if he's going to go up against Gordon, but if he did, imagine if he was to beat Gordon, that would be a crazy story. I mean,
that would be. And now
I'm not saying he's going to be Gordon. I'm just saying, what if,
what if anything, it's sports. And at the end of the day, like, Gordon does an amazing job promoting himself and giving you that confidence. That's how you sell, by selling confidence. But
I really think he's the best, Gordon. He's another level, that guy. I love watching him. He's one of my favorite people to watch, actually, just because of how technical he is. He makes everything look easy. He barely breaks a sweat.
You know what? Like, here's the thing. Gordon has a huge support system as well as a dedication system. Like, he's training professionally. He's putting his entire life and heart into it. And he has John Danaher's guidance with him and trust. But it's funny that you mentioned Andre Galvano, because really now when I sit back and think about it, as you say it, Andre Galvano is the only one from that, I don't want to say the older generation, but from that generation that's always been hardcore professional, dedicated.
Yeah.
So he is a good matchup for Gordon.
Yeah, I think it's him. There's Galvao and Cyborg are the two guys from that they're still in it from all these years and still going at a high level. Honestly, I think if Gordon and Galvao fought that day at ADCC 2019, how prepared Galvao was and how big he was, if they had actually fought that day, I think Gordon would have struggled with him.
Yeah.
Just because of the wrestling, and Galvao is very tactical, he knows how to, maybe take it to like where the points count and then score the takedowns and win by points.
Yes.
It's going to be very hard to pass Gordon's guard. But in 2 years' time, Gordon's just going to keep getting better and better. So
that's right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that impresses me out of Galvano, and some people overlook this fact because they're so obsessed with Nogi these days. Galvano accomplished incredible feats in gi and Nogi.
Yeah.
Cyborg was incredible Nogi, but in gi didn't accomplish as much as Galvano.
Yeah, much more of a Nogi guy, it seems.
Yeah. Even though, like, he's a killer in Nogi and he's so successful, but in gi somehow didn't click. Gordon Ryan put on a gi for like a few days and then took it off. Yeah. Galvano did it at both. So you got to give him credit for that.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that's what gives him the edge on experience, like managing points, He's fought so much, man. Like, he could write a book about how much he fought.
Yeah. Are you more of a gi or no-gi guy?
Oh, man, I'm so torn apart right now. I love gi, and I trained gi since I started, but I've been recently diving a bit, thanks to Gordon Ryan and all these crazy guys, like, just hyping it up.
Like Craig Jones as well.
Man, I see them as two different martial arts now. I don't even see them as the same.
I always tell people this. Yeah, they've gone like, that's why I'm more focusing on no-gi, because I'm rusty in the gi. If I go up against a tough purple belt that knows worm guard, I'm struggling. But no-gi, I feel like, that's my... that's what I really like. That's what I'm good at. And you are right. They're going in two different directions. You can actually make a career just going down no-gi route.
They really are.
I can't even tell you who some of the gi guys are. I don't watch the IBJJF World Championships. I don't know who they are. So
I was having this conversation the other day, and like, no-gi has become this entertainment explosive martial art that it is. Gi is so technical that it's almost like you have to be at a professional level to watch the fights, to truly enjoy them. And it's not very entertaining.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
No, it's much slower, isn't it?
It is.
And I hope eventually we have like something. It would be cool if we had something like the UFC where you actually have the weight divisions and you have rankings and you have the champion of each weight division. And it's all, each match is like a fit 10 or 15 minute, like, no rounds, just match, and it's judged on judge by the end, maybe decision. And I mean, I like EBI, but it is different. It's not always the best guy that wins in EBI rules. You get a clear winner, but it's not necessarily the best grappler, because some people, you're always going to play to the rules. You can like stall in regulation or act like you're doing enough, but you have a very good back escape and back attack in the overtime.
Yes.
You know? So, and you win that way.
It is a lot about rule sets. Like you see everybody scrambling right now, creating private promotions, and they're playing with the rules, hoping to hit gold. I think the less rules, the better. And that sort of 15-minute format, submission focused with judges like the UFC, that you know they have a point system, but sometimes the judges are stupid, so never leave it in the hands of the judges. That kind of format. It would be more entertaining for me to watch, to be honest. And yes, I'm so, like, with all respect to all the champions, you know, I love them. I talk to all of them on the podcast, but I just, this like constant 6-time, 17-time world champion kind of situation. It's like, no, one champion. Let's kind of unify. Let's bring it together. And maybe it'll be with Nogi, because I don't see that happening with Gi.
No, I can see it either.
Yeah, but it's exciting, man. We're on, like, again, physical revolution with health and medicine. We're also on the jiu-jitsu revolution too. We're lucky, all right? We're not too old. But I mean, we're going to see so much change, because you had the US go through its boom in jiu-jitsu. You had the UK. You went through that kind of phase of now you have Russia, Middle East, United Arab Emirates. Like, these countries are going to come out within the next 10 years with crazy people.
Oh yeah, I've grappled with a few good ones in Thailand. Like a lot of Russians go to Thailand to train. And I've grappled with a lot of like good black belts, like Russian black belts, and man, they're tough. A few from Dagestan as well, Kazakhstan. My God, they're made of something different over there. I remember when I was first exposed to them in 2012. I was a purple belt.
Okay.
And then I remember training with Marat Gafarov, who was the one championship featherweight champion. And he's like training partners with Khabib. It's the first time I ever felt I got ragdolled, you know, like Khabib style.
Oh man, terrifying.
They all go there. They're something different, you know. They are tough. They're made of something different.
It's that thing, like we're saying, Gordon Ryan is so dedicated and he commits so much time. And you talked about like Valentina Shevchenko doing push-ups on her fists and stuff like that. These guys are doing that since they're like 3. How do you compete with that?
Yeah,
you know, it's terrifying. Yeah. Like sometimes I think like, don't send jiu-jitsu there or we're all dead. It's just that's
I know, right? Yeah. It's just whoever puts it's the guy that wins is whoever works hardest, and that's I think that's what Gordon Ryan talks about. He says no one works harder than him. I've actually heard from Craig Jones as well. Craig Jones told me that it's insane how much work Gordon Ryan puts in, and that's why he is where he is. You know,
he has the intelligence as well not to show how much work he puts in, which makes him more impressive. That's how like he built his persona. So tell me something. I just back and forth, I know, but like to ask you a little bit more about the capturing side of Stuart Cooper films. When you create a film, do you have a strategy? Do you have a story you want to produce, or do you create a film, you build it, and they come? Like, do you have what's the process for you?
So before, when I first started making them, it was just trying to grab whoever I could, you know, at first. And then just interview them about their life, the story, and try and put it together afterwards. Try and ask as many questions in the interview.
Okay.
Try and get as much footage, and then see what story was there. But as I got more and more into jiu-jitsu, I started to be able to pick who I wanted to do videos with. So after, was it 2013 when Cyborg won, I actually like reached out to them and said, hey, let's film you preparing for 2015 Super Fight.
Wow.
So I was able to choose, and it was cool, because at first it was hard reaching out to people and saying, hey, I'd love to come and make a video on you, and sometimes a message back, sometimes not. But after putting out a certain amount of videos and people recognize my name, I could just email them and I'd say yes right away. So I was able to film pretty much whoever I wanted to. Was
it sustainable for you though? Because like you're spending to do this, obviously.
Yeah, it was. I would always get by, you know, like I spent years like sofa surfing as well. I'd get like money from sponsors and selling ad space, like on the front and end of my videos. You know, I just like crawl by. But no matter where I went, I would always. Jiu-jitsu is cool like that. Maybe I'd fly to, you know, San Francisco. I remember there I went to film with Kurt Osiander. Oh, yeah, I just slept in the gym. So to save money, I would literally sleep on the crash mats in the gym.
Wow.
And then, but other people, like I'd roll at a particular gym and I'd become friends with a few of them in a few days, and then they'd allow me to stay at their house on their couch.
Sure.
So I was able to save money that way, you know.
Man.
And sponsors would pay for my flights sometimes. And yeah, I made a lot of good friends over the years. So
that's a full commitment. Like the way we talk about fighters committing to their craft and martial arts, you committed to doing that.
Every now and again, I would have to fork out the money for a hotel. But it kind of balanced out because I did spend a lot of time at people's houses. And just actually this last weekend, an example of how tight the jiu-jitsu community is, I went to Vancouver Island and I went to train at a local club called Zuma. I'd never met the guy before. And his name's Adam, the black belt that has the gym there. And we got talking right away. And then that night, he's like, hey, come around to my house tonight, you know, come and have dinner. We never met before. I went round to his house. We had dinner.
Amazing.
And then he's like, dude, anytime you come back to Vancouver Island, we've got a spare room. You can stay in my house. So stuff like that would always happen when I was on the road, traveling the world.
That would fuel you.
Yeah.
Man,
so
that's
really
the thing.
cool
like a lot of guys, and you go through this ambitious phase. A lot of people, like they go this entrepreneurial route and they think of wealth and building up, and they start aspiring for things, right? I went through that phase, and then I started looking at something that was very interesting to me. I believe it was Braulio Estima posted on Facebook once that he landed somewhere and he had time to kill, right? Yeah. And he was in a transit or something like that. And who's up? Who's here? And then the messages. And then I found out that he goes and he ends up going and training in a gym, doing a seminar just randomly. Then they go out for lunch. Nobody would let him pay for shit. He ended up like going to their houses and grabbing drinks, and he didn't pay a single dime. Got a car to pick him up, drop him back off to the airport. In my mind, I'm like, that's wealth. Yeah. That's wealth. When you have to spend a lot for that, when another guy, people won't let him spend from how positive he's been to them and how like much they love him. That's real wealth. That's the kind of thing that lasts through generations. It's not just financial currency.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And I think jiu-jitsu, again, we're jiu-jitsu people, we're biased, but jiu-jitsu seems to really have a knack at doing that, at bringing people together.
I hope it stays like that as well. I hope the sport doesn't become too big. That doesn't happen. I don't think so, but it is. It's getting bigger.
It's a debate that we go back and forth on. Like I think the style of jiu-jitsu, the fact that we roll intensely with each other, even if it's just sport, it is intense enough to feel that bond, that connection, trust, tapping out and choking, strangling. Yeah. It makes you appreciate one another. Like karate, when it turned into katas and you're just demonstrating, that's when it just lost its soul totally as a martial art. But jiu-jitsu, I think it'll take a lot to lose its soul. Oh, man. It'll be difficult because we grapple. Grappling's more real, as you said in the beginning.
Yeah. And it's true, you really do learn a lot about the person. When you roll, when you do a 5-minute or 10-minute hard round with someone, you learn a lot about their personality in this, the way how hard they go. You can, when someone gets in a submission, you can see their face. You can see if they're putting it on and being considerate, not trying to hurt you. Or you can see that they're trying to crank it, you know.
At all expenses,
I see a little bit of craziness there.
That's the thing. You see the crazy early on in people. It's a great way to get to know people. If you have a doubt in the person you're meeting, if you're in a relationship and you're not sure, go fucking roll with them. It's a good indicator.
How they react to getting tapped as well. If you tap them again and again, how do they, you know?
Yeah.
Some people get mad. They do not like it. They get really mad and they come at you even worse, even harder.
Absolutely. And here's the crazy thing. Like some people, even at a higher level, they maybe lack on a certain side of their game. And when that gets exposed, you really see the perseverance. You see their character. Like, are they going to crumple and get upset? Or are they kind of person that appreciates your exposure of their weakness? You know, that's a real sign of a person that's talented and you know, a healthy relationship with people.
Yeah.
Man. So I want to talk a little bit about your future before we wrap this up. I know you're busy. What can we expect from you in the future? Is it competition? Is it Team Stuart Cooper? What are we looking at? Yeah,
so right now I'm in Vancouver. I've been here since September, and already, you know, I'm building up a good team here. The team's growing. You know, I first got here, we had a good group of people, but there's more and more people joining up all the time.
Okay.
And it's only now everyone. It takes a long time to get to know people. You know, the first few months when I came here was actually very difficult because I didn't know anyone. I just changed my life. So, but now over the last few months, everyone's become my friend. I really got to know everyone, and I'm seeing everyone's games progress. Like all the stuff I'm showing them, they're putting it into practice now. So over the next few months, few years, I'm going to be like growing the team, and hopefully we're going to have some affiliates around Vancouver, around Canada. But I'll definitely looking to compete. 2020 was actually supposed to be a very competitive year, because the last year I got back into the competing, and then I tore my knee. Okay. So then I was out for a year, and then I did a Grappling Industries at the beginning of the year, and then I did a Grapple Fest after that, and I was just getting back into the competing, and then COVID hit. So I'm not sure if there's going to be any competitions in 2020. We'll see. Unlikely. But hopefully next year. And basically I just want to wait till as soon as all the borders open. I'm going to be flying to Wagner Rocha, Dante Leon to do some videos.
Nice.
Yeah, and doing as many, super fights as possible. I don't think I'll be competing in the gi anytime soon. It's been a long time, actually. I don't think I've ever competed in the gi as a black belt.
Just when was the last time you trained in
gi? No, I think the last time I competed in the gi was purple belt. It was that long ago. Yeah.
When was the last time you trained in gi?
Oh, I train the gi like twice a week. Yeah, at least 2 times a week or something. But,
so the team you're building is like white belt, blue belt, purple belt, like.
Yeah, so we've got 1 brown belt.
Okay.
And a couple purple belts, and mainly blue and white. But already there's a lot of people I can think of right now already on the way to getting the blue belt, and one guy deserves his brown belt soon as well.
Oh, who's this guy?
Can't say this yet.
All right, I agree. Let him sweat it out. But I wanted to ask you, you're training them 3 no-gi, 2 gi per week?
So we do no-gi on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and then gi Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's kind of a mixed. I would actually say it's more no-gi than gi. I would say it's like 60% no-gi, 40%. Because we have classes at 12 noon. So on Monday it's 12 noon gi, and Monday evening it's 8 p.m. It's a late one on Monday evening. Is the gi, and then Tuesday daytime it's no-gi. Tuesday evening it's no-gi.
Okay.
Wednesday daytime no-gi. Wednesday evening gi. So kind of alternates a bit, but
like. Here we're still 100% gi. There's there's maybe like 1 or 2 gyms that do no gi training.
I actually come from a gi background. It was like I would do almost all gi, and we would do no gi once a week. But it was when I went out to Thailand. Like no one really put the gi on. It was all no gi, and that's where I really fell in love with no gi.
Amazing.
And then ever since, especially the way it's going, because I love watching people like Gordon Ryan, Craig Jones. I love the leg locks. It's a whole other avenue to explore.
Yeah, it's another world. It's an absolute other world.
A lot of that stuff you're not allowed to do in the gi. There's a lot of restrictions. That's another reason I'm not too interested in competing in IBJJF gi tournaments, because you could turn up and you've got maybe 1 too many patches on your gi, and you get disqualified. Your sleeve is off by 1 millimeter. You get disqualified. You haven't got the
patch in the wrong place.
It's like, and all the different grips as well. Like a lot of them, you're really going to know the rules before you turn up.
Man, that's the thing. I hope it doesn't water down. Like, I don't know if I should call it a martial art or a sport anymore, because like they're different things. Martial art has the bushido, the history. That I get the gi in the martial art and the belt and the stripes, but like judo, for example, let go of so much productive aspects of itself to become an Olympic sport. It's just drop them ippon or pin them for a few seconds. Whereas judo had an extensive newaza. It had all the things that we have in jiu-jitsu in terms of submission, but it kind of bailed on it. I'm worried that jiu-jitsu will bail on stuff because of the way we're competing.
Yeah.
Like takedowns, for example.
Yeah, that's something that's something I'm working on right now. Takedowns. That's going to become very important in the no-gi. I think wrestling and no-gi are going to almost blend together over the next few years.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. I think
that's it. The ADCC trials are coming up October 3rd in Poland. They were supposed to be in Moldova, but now because of COVID, they've been moved to Poland. So I'll be doing the trials.
Nice.
October 3rd. So that's my focus. That's like my main focus right now. I'm already preparing for it right now.
Let's go.
So I just hope it happens. Right now it's on, but who knows, man, what's going to happen over the next few months. I mean, I've already accepted if I do go to Poland and I'm allowed to go, when I come back to Canada, I'm most likely going to have to do a 14-day quarantine, but for sure I'll do that. It's worth it for the ADCC trials. You know?
Before you leave, you got to like set up mats in your house and pick a person that's going to do quarantine with you so you can still train.
Yeah, I've got a few people I'm like training with. You know?
Man, you know, I think, honestly speaking, September, October, I'm reserved. I'm still being kind of cautious, but I believe September, October, like the flu season, typical global flu season, this is going to be our indicator what's going to happen for the rest of the year, I think.
Yeah.
Once we see, if they confuse the normal flu with COVID, we're screwed. But if they know how to differentiate the two, because I haven't heard of anybody get the flu last year.
Yeah, well, actually, in end of January, I got incredibly sick. I was on this couch. Like, I remember going to teacher private in the morning, and I got body aches all over. My head started to go. I started to get a fever. I went home early, cancelled all classes and privates that day. Came back, and I was on the couch for 7 days, just dripping with sweat, like pounding headache, just, you know, cough. I didn't have difficulty breathing.
Okay.
And I even went to the doctor, and he said, you've got the beginnings of pneumonia. We're not sure. Or it could be the flu. We're not sure. Then they give me some amoxicillin. I come back home. I'm on the couch. It took me about 10 days to get over it. But 2 weeks after, all the media on the coronavirus started to hit. And I was like,
Were you traveling?
I don't know. I never got tested. But it was a bit of a coincidence, the timing. So I'm like, maybe I've got the antibodies, or maybe it was the flu. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Eventually, most of us will get tested, and you'll find out. But I mean, like, I don't know, man. There's a lot to make out of it, and I don't like to talk about it because there's so much misconception. But I do genuinely believe,
misinformation, isn't there? There's never been a time with so much misinformation, and people believe their information's right. Other people believe their information's right. And good friends are clashing online, disagreeing with each other. It's like, and falling out, and like probably deleting each other. It's like, you know, for what?
It's so true. It's so true, man. What scares me, dude, is like, I got to a point where I'm like, man, we got advanced. And look at the iPhone, look at the computer. We're doing streaming and everything. And this COVID hits, I'm like, we're just apes with less hair. Like, I went complete backwards. Like, what the hell went wrong? We don't know how to treat anything. We don't know how to diagnose anything anymore. People are wearing cotton covers for the deadliest virus on earth when they wear a gas mask to paint a car. Like, it doesn't make sense anymore. Nothing makes sense, man.
What next, eh? I reckon alien invasion. Just to cap off 2020.
Maybe this was a great plan to just ease into an alien invasion for us, like to make us accept it. Because right now we're at a point where like, fuck it, bring him on. Khalas, what else shall we do? But man, listen, I am so happy to hear that you're like at this point in your life with everything that you've done, going for that competition route and fulfilling that itch, right? Because you're at that right time, you're at your prime. Go for it. Why not? Right now. Yeah. But you've got this complex thing. I got to tell you, it's, you know, when there's a professional barber, a professional doctor, a dentist. Okay, perfect. The dentist. He's the best dentist on earth. He can't work on his own teeth. I wish there's somebody that can just capture you as well, like your story and what you're doing. That's the one bad thing of being so good at filming. It's very difficult to find somebody.
A cool story is if I do, I'm really going to do everything I can to win those trials.
Let's go.
If I win the trials and win a place in ADCC, that would just be a cool story in itself. Going from filming it in 2011 to 10 years later competing in it. Because I never thought in 2011 when I was filming ADCC, the thought never even crossed my mind, you know, that maybe I'd want to compete in it one day. So hopefully I can make that reality, but all I can do is just try my best, you know.
Yeah, man. For the man that captures story, you definitely have a story going for yourself right now. I wish you the best of luck, man. It's absolute pleasure talking to you. I really hope you do come down in the near future to the UAE. We'd love to have you here. And man, honestly, just I want you to kick ass. Like everything you've learned, let's go. I want to watch you in ADCC kicking ass, and I wish you the best of luck moving forward, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you for your time. Everybody on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this incredible podcast with Stuart Cooper. Much love to you all. I'll catch you tomorrow for a steroid and doping talk on my podcast. I got somebody on that's just gonna open it up and just open that can of worms.
Oh, that'll be interesting. I'll listen to that one.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Habibi. Much love, everybody. Catch you later. Hang in there, please.